let's review it. But I think that
I would say that it really feels to me like he will join Class A, right? I think it's important to go back to this scene. When we kind of talked about the different classes. Before that, in the reaction part, I was like, oh, maybe actually can join A even. Because he hasn't joined B yet, so he might actually join A, right? Because he's gonna go back and forth between A and B. And so when they showed this thing,
I was like, oh, interesting. So that means that Shinso can be either in Class A and B, given he has all his backstory, he's introduced at this one, right? It would be very strange. From like a narrative perspective, it would be very strange, right, if he'd join at least B. Because, I mean, whereas would the author be like, oh, here's this guy. This like one of the fan favorite characters is back kind of thing here, blah, blah, you know. He's back, but he failed.
Like, come on, like, he's gonna, clearly, Shinso is gonna be, you know, powerful enough to join, right? Whereas it would be a kind of weird storyline. Like, whereas we, you know, spend so much time on this character, right? Next episode is freaking called like Shinso, make it happen, right? So come on, it's gonna make it happen. That would be weird. But that being said, obviously he's my favorite character from the men's side, and yeah, I think it's gonna join Class A then. That just makes sense, right? Because he's all the screen time, interesting character. Obviously I'm biased, but still think he's one of the best backstories, right? And I think it'll be much more interesting. And I think also from an author perspective, right? If I wrote this anime and I'm like, okay, I'm an old manga, and I'm gonna take all this time, right, to reintroduce this character we haven't seen in like a few years. He's gonna have episodes named after him, a lot of screen time, right? You know, focus on new powers and stuff. Then why would I put him in the B class, right? That has had screen time. Because obviously B class, the blue guys here, they appear every now and then, don't have that much screen time, right? So I genuinely think he's gonna join Class A. Not from being a fanboy of Shinso, but I mean from like a narrative standpoint. You know, why put this character you spend so much time in the class that you barely show anyway? You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna very likely put him in Class A then. So that they actually get him as one of the new classmates, right? Which I think would be a good part too, because thinking about it, they have never actually, in this storyline, there hasn't been much like class changes, right? They haven't like swapped classes, they haven't like, you know, yeah. So actually adding a new student, even when he's not a new character, but a new Class A student, right? Adding him to Class A, you know, seeing how they live and how they train and, you know, the team ups, blah, blah, so on. That I think is a good story element too. Doesn't have to be Shinso then, but I mean, just adding, you know, like a new classmate generally could be a little more dynamic change. It's like a TV show where you have to add a new character every season. But yeah, something like that could be interesting. So I think it's better to put them in A anyway. Just from generally, I mean, just from like a general standpoint, it could be interesting seeing new characters in A, right? And not necessarily a new character, but like a new person inside the class, right? Regardless of the power and so on. Otherwise, though, let's, you know, grab the bull by the horns, right? It's kind of fun seeing, you know, all the girl, you know, Kobayashi Dragon Maid and annoying guy, and, you know, they have some cool design and so on. But the episode definitely felt like a drag, though, to be honest. Even if I'm like a huge Shinso fanboy, right? Even though I'm like, I stand this guy, he's like my favorite character, the episode felt like a half filler. Like, honestly. Because, no, but like, and I said it earlier, I said immediately when I started watching the episode, in the reaction, I was like, oh no. Because what happened, right, is that the first more than 2 minutes were just recap. And it wasn't even good recap, it was just recap where you take a previous episode and put this episode, right? Yeah, they haven't edited. That's the laziest, and, you know, the laziest, and you just kind of, oh, here's the recap the last 2 minutes. That's a really bad sign in any anime. Also a bad sign. That means that they were probably trying to pace out the episode, right? And after this, we of course see, you know, the Class B, right? And you know, that's all. But yeah, they're also gonna show everyone's face, right? They're gonna be like, look at these guys, look at these guys. So I mean, first episode is clearly kind of dragged out in the beginning. Show every character like this. We have to show every character like this, right? That takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time. And afterwards, we also got to see all the team ups, which we need to know that. But I mean, yeah. But then we also have to see everyone's versus this thing's gonna fight these guys, and so on, right? So the problem here is that
I mean, half the episode is like, look at this character you haven't seen in like 2 years. Her name is this thing. Look at this guy. He has like steel powers, you know. So half the episode is like just showing characters that you should know most of these characters, right? If you actually watch that. No, but anyway, you watch most characters. Like Tatsu, Steel Man, yeah. Showing him and then showing who they're gonna fight and so on. We need to know who they're gonna fight though, so I suppose. But I mean, you could have skipped the early part, right? Where everyone's face was shown. You could have skipped that part. Or that part could have been more effective. And instead of showing like 2 and 2 characters, you could have been maybe like all of them at the same time, or I don't know, maybe like 5 or so, right? It really feels like, again, we're gonna pace this out slow as we can, right? They clearly could have reintroduced all the characters in a much faster way, and then immediately jump into this thing, or they could actually, honestly, in a way, they could have just kind of introduced it like this instead. To make it more effective, I would argue that you should just introduce them immediately. Like, here's the class 2, class, B, second class, and then you do this thing. And while you're doing this thing, you could explain their quirks, right? You could be like, Tetsu, you can do it at the same time when you put out the first thing, perhaps. I mean, the difference you can do it. But I haven't read the manga here, but I can't see the manga being like several pages showing everyone's faces, you know what I mean? Like here in the anime, right? So, yeah. I mean, I like the Shinso's back, and that part is interesting. And I guess it's gonna be in Class B, right? Oh, sorry, it's gonna. I guess earlier. I mean, sorry, that's a weird voice slip. When I saw the opening, episode 1, I guess he was gonna be part of Class B already, right? He was already being introduced in Class B. But given that he's I guess, be in both A and B, I think he's gonna be in A, right? So again, yeah. So I like that a lot, and that's a nice, I'll say twist, but it's a nice change of I guess storyline. But otherwise, the episode, yeah, it really feels like half filler, dragged out, recap, and then it's so I don't know, man. Episode 1 filler, 100% filler. This is like it's more, it's not filler, but it's clearly like very slow paced. It's like very slow paced. But anyway, is Midnight as dating All Might? Maybe. Floppy acid scene, was that scene? Not the best scene. Oh, it is. Yeah, and I like how he looks at her. He looks at the two. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a good scene, man. That was clearly the best scene. But otherwise, let's talk about his vocal cords. Talk about his vocal cords. So, Shinso has clearly powered up, right? No surprise on that notion that he's now stronger, and he has clearly changed his voice, right? Because obviously his powers works by he talks to someone, right? They answer him, whatever, or they can have some kind of communication between each other, right? With words, and it happens. He can control them, right? So now that he has this mask, which makes sense, he has this mask to alter his how his voice sounds, and so on, right? So he can like trick them and so on. So it's a nice like supportive upgrade for him. But even with that, like. Beast guy was like screaming all the time, so yeah, even with that though, if it's kind of easy for him to control him anyway. But yeah, he can now change his voice. Was according to interesting. I guess we're gonna see more of that next episode. Which means call his name, right? So we're gonna focus probably on his new power. And as you saw in the opening, we see the Aizawa, we see the Sensei scarf, right? The weapon thing. So we didn't see that one here, but he can certainly fight with that, right? Definitely. One thing I'm thinking though when I see Shinso back, right? They didn't address this at all, but I'm thinking generally, will he have new powers? I mean, will he have new powers? Maybe. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about that in the sense that, like, would he have new powers? Would he be able to mind control in a different way, right? Like honestly, because we have seen almost every other character, right? They have improved their powers. Okay, alien girl, alien queen, you can send posts like this now. Most of them have improved their quirks somehow, right? And the more use them, they're stronger and so on. So he has the voice recording now, okay? That helps his voice mind control. But I don't see why he couldn't just unlock, better mind control skills, right? Just like maybe just looking at them. You know what I mean? So maybe. I think this could be a ruse too. He's a very intelligent character. He could. I wouldn't be surprised if in next episode, or maybe 2 episodes from now, he actually has yet more, like telepathic or some kind of mind focus power, right? And for that matter, yes, he's currently has mind control. But looking from like a Marvel standpoint, those characters usually have telekinetic and micro, like Jean Grey and so on. It's pretty common, right? That have some kind of mixture of mental powers, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if he has managed to also unlock some kind of force field, telekinetic, psychic punches, whatever, right? Maybe like a mind blast, you can like make you get unconscious, whatever, right? That would surprise me at all. I think it would make sense if he has improved his, because he has a mental quirk, right? So if he has improved his mental quirk over this, I don't know how much time it's been. He was, season 2, but I don't know how much time it's been in the anime world. I'm not actually sure how much exact time he's been training now with Sensei, but whatever. Let's say it's like a year, okay? So he's been training for like a year. Why wouldn't he be able to, unlock something like, mind blasting or lifting objects or whatever? Right? It depends on how you look at it. Should he be able to do real, like, telekinetic and can actually lift something, like lifting something with his mind? That seems farther away from his powers than he currently has, right? But that he would be able to, like psychic blast you, mind blast you, taking your mind and make you, drop out or get a severe head pain or maybe remove your vision and so on, right? I think I could get out of Marvel characters here, but like Emma Frost step and so on in Marvel, she can like make you go blind and so on. Yeah, like that stuff I think would make perfect sense, right? If he could develop more like internally in people's minds, right? And or also, like for example, Emma Frost in Marvel, she can like go into your mind and read your flashbacks. So you can like enter your brain, right, and look at your like what happened to you as a kid and so on. Of course, Charles Xavier also it Wolverine too. Yeah, they can go in and like read your memories. So why couldn't he get his power, right? Like that makes sense to me in typical like mind fashion, right? He should be able to read their mind, look at their memories and so on, right? So that could be a thing too. Maybe he can't like even if he can't control them. Maybe he could learn at least like read people's minds, so he can fight them. Actually, that definitely being a power up, definitely that he could perhaps predict, kind of like in One Piece, he can predict their behavior by like observing their mind, right? So you can say here that I can see could be kind of an easy upgrade from his powers, that he could like slightly read your intention and your mind. So even if he can't control you. Like Deku, he can read his mind and know how he's gonna attack. That I think makes sense from like a kind of like a slight upgrade from his power, right? That he can like predict your behavior and so on by reading your kind of your surface value brain waves, right? Like why not? Right? So I think it's gonna be something like that he can still probably fight pretty good, even if he can't control them, by being like, oh, I know what you're gonna do. Oh, you're gonna do this thing. Something like that. But anyway, I mean, the episode is pretty good when we get to the Shinso part. Definitely. So, I mean, pretty good episode when we get there, right? When we get to that episode, then it gets pretty decent. But before that, it's a little bit like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of this recap and all these faces. But next episode is probably a lot better, right? So I said that episode today then. I look at the schedule today and there's a lot of new animes on Saturday, so you're gonna see what I do today, but it's like, obviously it's Don't Bully, Senpai Kawaii, which I think is my best anime. Vivi is back again, which was really good as a week. We also have Shadow House, so that's also interesting, horror anime, which was really cool. And there's like yet another anime, so I see how, it's like a Tokyo Revengers today. And it's the, oh my god, it's also the Battle Girl anime, kind of the sport Battle Girl anime. And it's the slime anime and 86. Today is like 10 animes. Holy moly! So I'm probably gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna pick my favorite ones, I guess, and react and review and so on, depending on how good they are. But it's like 6-7 animes today. Saturday is like a hellish amount of animes now, and of course One Piece in the end, right? So it's like holy shit, man! It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7 animes after this that I kind of want to see. I don't know which one are the best ones, but it's something like that. Man, there's a lot of animes. So I don't know what to do today, but I think to say first or second week of anime, right? You don't know what anime you're gonna prefer the most, right? So it's like, I guess I'm gonna watch all of them and then I'm gonna review. So I guess like coming, I have to see tomorrow which was the best ones. But I guess a lot of first impressions on coming today and reviews of all these new animes. So I'll see you guys in